All right, so living longer. I mean, who wouldn't want a few extra trips around the sun, right?
Yeah.
But what if I told you there's a way to make those extra years really count? Not just adding time,
Right.
but adding like quality time.
Oh, yeah, so you're talking about Healthspan.
Uh-huh.
And that's a game changer.
So it's not just about the number of candles on the cake,
Yeah.
but like how brightly those candles are actually burning.
Exactly. We've gotten pretty good at extending lifespan, but that hasn't always translated into extending the healthy part of life. You know, we're seeing more and more people living longer, but facing chronic diseases, limited mobility, even cognitive decline in those later years.
So it's like winning a race,
Yeah.
but crossing the finish line exhausted and barely able to stand up.
Exactly.
That's not exactly a victory lap, is it?
Not quite. And it has ripple effects, you know? Think about the strain on healthcare systems.
Oh, yeah.
The emotional and financial burden on families. So it becomes a societal issue, not just a personal one.
Wow, that's a sobering thought. But before we spiral into a longevity crisis here, you mentioned Healthspan being the key. So what about those individuals who do manage to live long and healthy lives?
Right.
What's their secret?
That's where things get fascinating. You know, there are communities around the world where people regularly live into their 90s and beyond.
Wow.
But they're not just surviving, they're thriving. They're active, engaged, and contributing members of their communities.
Okay, now that's the dream.
Yeah.
To be hiking mountains and writing novels at 90.
Exactly.
So what sets these folks apart? Is it all in their genes?
Genetics play a role, but it's not the whole story. Lifestyle choices have a huge impact.
Got it.
And that's where we can all take action. You know, we're diving into some cutting-edge research today that outlines 10 evidence-based strategies for maximizing health span.
All right, let's unpack these strategies. What's the first step on this path to a longer, healthier life?
It all starts with strength and mobility.
Okay.
You might be surprised to hear that muscle mass is one of the strongest predictors of longevity.
Really?
Even more so than cardiovascular fitness.
Wait, really? I always thought it was all about cardio.
Yeah.
And those trendy superfoods.
Those are important.
Okay.
But think of muscle as your body's foundation.
Okay.
It's not just about aesthetics. It's about supporting your bones, maintaining balance, and even boosting your metabolism.
So we're talking about hitting the gym and becoming a power lifter.
Not necessarily. Even moderate strength training a couple of times a week can make a world of difference. It could be as simple as body weight exercises, lifting light weights, or using resistance bands, right? Remember, it's about consistency, not intensity.
Okay, building that strong foundation.
Yep.
What's next on the list?
Step 2 is all about what you fuel your body with, nutrition.
Okay.
Now, we're not diving into fad diets.
Right.
But it's fascinating to look at cultures known for longevity and see what they're eating.
I'm all ears. I've always been intrigued by the Mediterranean diet.
Yeah.
Is that still the gold standard?
It's definitely up there. Picture this.
Okay.
Fresh fruits and veggies, bursting with color, healthy fats from olive oil and nuts, lean protein from fish.
Okay, that sounds more like a delicious feast than a restrictive diet.
Exactly.
What about other cultures? I've heard amazing things about the longevity of people in Okinawa, Japan.
They're another great example.
Okay.
The Okinawan diet emphasizes whole, unprocessed foods with staples like sweet potatoes, seaweed, and tofu.
Interesting.
Both the Mediterranean and Okinawan approaches
highlight
the power of real food and a balanced approach.
So it's less about counting calories and more about making mindful choices.
Exactly.
And enjoying a variety of nutrient-rich foods. What else should we be focusing on?
Step 3 is something we all grapple with, stress management.
Okay.
We all experience stress. It's part of life.
Right.
But it's the chronic, unrelenting stress that really accelerates aging.
I can see how constant worry and tension wouldn't exactly do wonders for ourselves.
Yeah.
But how does stress actually harm us on a physical level?
It's a complex process, but chronic stress centers a cascade of hormonal changes that can lead to inflammation, weakened immunity, and even damage our DNA over time.
Wow, it's like stress is slowly chipping away at our health from the inside out.
That's a good way to put it.
Okay.
So finding healthy ways to manage stress is crucial.
Right.
It's not about eliminating stress altogether, but about building resilience.
So what are some effective stress-busting techniques? Are we talking spa days and medication retreats?
those can be helpful.
Okay.
But the real magic is incorporating daily practices that work for you.
Got it.
Meditation, even for a few minutes, can be incredibly powerful.
I've heard about mindfulness and deep breathing exercises. Do those actually make a difference?
They absolutely can.
Okay.
Deep breathing triggers the relaxation response, slowing your heart rate and calming your nervous system. And never underestimate the power of spending time in nature.
Oh, yeah.
It's a natural mood booster and stress reliever.
So finding those pockets of peace throughout the day.
Yeah.
Whether it's a walk in the park or a few minutes of meditation.
Exactly.
I can definitely get on board with that. What's next on our list of longevity boosters?
This one is often overlooked,
Okay.
but it's absolutely essential. Sleep. We're talking a solid 7-9 hours of quality sleep each night.
Hold on. Are you saying those late-night Netflix binges are working against me?
I hate to break it to you.
Okay.
But consistently skimping on sleep is like slowly draining your health battery.
Right.
Sleep deprivation impacts everything from cognitive function
to
mood to your risk of chronic diseases.
They'll be grumpy and age faster. Not a good combo.
Not ideal. Think of sleep as your body's nightly repair crew.
Okay.
It's when your cells regenerate, your brain consolidates memories, and your hormones rebalance.
Okay, I'm convinced 7 to 9 hours. Noted.
All right.
What else can we do to keep our brains sharp and bodies running smoothly?
That brings us to step 5. Lifelong learning.
Ooh, I like this one.
Yeah.
Does it mean I can finally justify that online course in astrophysics I've been eyeing?
Absolutely. It doesn't have to be formal education either.
Okay.
Reading, puzzles, learning a new language, picking up a musical instrument, anything that stimulates your brain and keeps those neurons firing.
So ditch the mindless scrolling and embrace the crossword puzzle. Got it.
Exactly.
What's next on the agenda?
Step 6 delves into optimizing your metabolic health.
Okay.
This is where things get a bit more technical.
Okay.
But it's crucial for long-term well-being.
Okay, break it down for us.
Right.
What does metabolic health actually mean?
In simple terms, it's about how effectively your body processes energy.
Okay.
A key factor is insulin sensitivity.
Okay.
Which is how well your cells respond to insulin, the hormone that helps regulate blood sugar.
And why is insulin sensitivity so important?
Think of insulin as a key that unlocks your cells to let sugar in for energy.
Okay.
When you have good insulin sensitivity, those locks work smoothly.
Right.
But when you develop insulin resistance, it's like those locks get rusty, making it harder for sugar to enter.
Right.
This can lead to a whole cascade of health problems over time.
Ah, so it's about keeping those locks functioning properly.
Exactly.
What can we do to improve our insulin sensitivity?
There are a few key strategies.
Okay.
One that's gained a lot of attention is intermittent fasting, where you cycle between periods of eating and fasting.
Okay.
It's been shown to improve insulin sensitivity and may have other benefits as well.
Interesting. So it's not just what we eat, but when we eat,
exactly.
What other dietary changes can we make?
Cutting back on processed carbs and sugars is another major step.
Right.
Those refined carbs tend to spike blood sugar and contribute to insulin resistance over time.
So swapping that sugary cereal for a protein-rich breakfast.
Exactly.
And maybe saying no to that afternoon soda makes sense. What else can we do to boost our metabolic health?
Regular exercise is crucial.
Okay.
It helps your body use insulin more effectively.
Right.
And improves overall energy balance.
Okay, so we've covered strength training, diet, stress management, sleep, mental activity, and metabolic health.
Yeah.
That's a lot to keep track of.
Right.
What else do we need to consider for a long and healthy life?
This next one might surprise you.
Okay.
But it's just as crucial as any of the others. A social connection.
Wait, you mean hanging out with friends and family?
Yeah.
Actually adds years to our lives.
It's not just about having fun, although that's a great perk.
Right.
Studies have shown that loneliness and social isolation are as detrimental to your health as smoking.
Wow.
Strong social connections, on the other hand, have been linked to lower blood pressure, reduced stress, and even a stronger immune system.
Wow, that's powerful. So quality time with loved ones isn't just good for the soul, it's good for the body, too.
That's right.
What's next on our Healthspan checklist?
That's right. It seems counterintuitive, but nurturing those bonds is just as important as eating your veggies and hitting the gym. Speaking of getting physical, step 8 brings us to cardiovascular sickness.
I knew we'd circle back to exercise. So are we talking marathon training here, or is a brisk walk around the block enough to get those longevity benefits?
Well, there are different types of cardio, each with its own advantages. Walking is a fantastic starting point, especially if you're just starting to get active.
Right.
It's low impact, accessible, and you can gradually increase your distance and intensity over time.
I'm a big fan of walking meetings.
Yeah.
What about those of us who want to kick things up a notch?
Zone 2 cardio is another great option.
Okay.
It's essentially moderate intensity exercise where you can still hold a conversation. Think brisk walking, jogging, swimming, for cycling at a steady pace.
Sounds manageable. And for the adrenaline junkies out there?
For those who crave a challenge, high or high-intensity interval training is a fantastic way to boost cardiovascular fitness in a shorter amount of time.
Okay.
It involves short bursts of intense exercise, followed by brief recovery periods.
So find a type of cardio that fits your lifestyle and fitness level.
Exactly.
What's next on our longevity to-do list?
Step 9 is all about minimizing those habits that work against us, avoiding toxins and harmful substances. This one's pretty straightforward.
Okay.
But it can be tough to put into practice.
Okay, let's hear it. What are the big offenders when it comes to sabotaging our health span?
I'm sure this won't be a surprise, but smoking is a major culprit.
Right.
It significantly increases your risk of a whole host of diseases, including heart disease, lung cancer, and stroke.
No arguments there.
Right.
What about alcohol? Is a glass of wine with dinner okay?
Yeah.
Or are we aiming for complete abstinence?
Moderation is key.
Okay.
While some studies suggest potential benefits of moderate alcohol consumption, excessive drinking has been linked to a range of health problems, including liver damage, increased risk of certain cancers, and even cognitive decline.
So enjoy that occasional glass of wine, but maybe skip the nightly cocktail routine.
Exactly.
What about food? Is there any specific foods we should be steering clear of?
Processed foods are a major contributor to poor health.
Right.
They're often packed with sugar, unhealthy fats, and artificial ingredients that can wreak havoc on your body over time.
So less fast food, more home-cooked meals. Makes sense. We've covered a lot of ground here. Strength training, nutrition, stress management, sleep, mental stimulation, metabolic health, social connection, and cardiovascular fitness.
Yeah.
That's a lot. What's the final piece of the puzzle?
Step 10 is all about finding purpose and joy in your life.
Okay.
This might seem a little less scientific, but it's just as vital for overall well-being. And longevity studies are shown that people with a strong sense of purpose tend to live longer and healthier lives.
I can see how that ties into the social connection and stress management aspects we talked about earlier.
Yeah.
But what does finding purpose actually mean?
It's about identifying what truly gives your life meaning and actively pursuing it.
Okay.
It could be your career, hobbies, relationships, volunteer work, or spiritual beliefs. The key is to find something that you're passionate about and that gives you a sense of fulfillment.
So it's not just about adding years to your life. It's about adding life to your years. I love that. Okay, we've covered a lot of ground with these 10 strategies, but it could feel a bit overwhelming, right? Where do we even begin?
That's a great point. It's important to remember that you don't have to overhaul your entire life overnight.
Right.
Instead of trying to tackle everything at once, focus on one or two areas that resonate with you most and build from there.
So if I'm already a gym enthusiast but struggle with getting enough sleep, I could start by focusing on establishing a consistent sleep routine.
Exactly. Play to your strengths and identify areas where you could use some improvement. And remember, consistency is key. Small, sustainable changes over time are much more effective than drastic, short-lived efforts.
That makes so much more sense. It's about building momentum and celebrating those small wins along the way. But what about those times when willpower just isn't enough? Are there any strategies for making these healthy habits stick?
One incredibly effective technique is habit stacking. Instead of trying to create a brand new habit from scratch, you attach it to an existing one.
Okay, that sounds interesting. How does that work in practice?
Let's say you want to start a daily meditation practice.
Okay.
But struggle to find the time.
Right.
Try meditating for just 5 minutes right after you brush your teeth each morning.
Okay.
You already have that toothbrushing habit ingrained, so you're simply piggybacking a new behavior onto an existing one.
That's brilliant. It takes the pressure off trying to create a whole new routine. What are some other tips for making these changes last?
Setting realistic goals is crucial. Don't try to go from 0 to 60 overnight.
Right.
Start small and gradually increase the intensity or duration of your new habits.
Okay.
For example, if you're aiming for those 7 to 9 hours of sleep we discussed, maybe start by going to bed just 15 minutes earlier each night instead of trying to completely revamp your sleep schedule all at once.
Right, that makes much more sense. So it's not about striving for perfection. It's about making progress. I love that. We've been talking a lot about the individual benefits of prioritizing health span, but I'm curious about the bigger picture. what kind of impact could this have on society as a whole?
That's a great question. Imagine a world where people not only live longer, but also enjoy more years of good health, vitality, and independence. It could revolutionize healthcare systems, reduce the burden on caregivers, and boost overall productivity and well-being.
Wow, that's a vision I can get behind. A world where those extra years are filled with adventure, creativity, and contribution. Not just doctor's appointments and limitations.
Exactly. It's about shifting our focus from merely extending lifespan to enhancing health span. And the best part is, it's within our power to make that happen.
So it's not about some magic pill or fountain of youth. It's about making informed choices today that set us up for a brighter, healthier tomorrow.
Precisely.
This has been incredibly insightful. Any final thoughts for our listeners as they embark on their own health span journeys? All right, we're back for the so many part of our deep dive into health span. We've covered a lot of ground, but I know there is still some lingering questions. For instance, we've been talking about these 10 evidence-based strategies, but let's be honest. Are there any shortcuts or magic bullets we're missing?
I wish it were that simple.
Right.
Unfortunately, there's no single miracle cure for maximizing health span. It really is about that holistic approach, weaving those different strategies into your life, and finding what works best for you.
Okay, so no quick fixes.
Right.
But what about all those supplements we see advertised everywhere?
Yeah.
The anti-aging potions and longevity elixirs.
Right.
Are any of those worth considering?
The supplement industry can be a bit of a Wild West.
Okay.
And it's important to approach those claims with a healthy dose of skepticism.
Right.
While some supplements may offer certain benefits, they're definitely not a substitute for a healthy lifestyle.
So focus on building those solid foundations. First,
exactly.
The diet, exercise, stress management, all those key pillars we've been discussing.
Yep.
And if you're considering adding supplements to your routine, it's always best to consult with your doctor.
Exactly.
To make sure they're safe and appropriate for your individual needs.
For sure.
That's a good reminder. Not all supplements are created equal.
Right.
And what works for one person might not work for another.
Exactly.
What about genetics? We all know someone who seems to defy the aging process. There are some people just predisposed to a longer, healthier life.
Genetics definitely play a role.
Okay.
But they're not the entire story.
Okay.
Think of it this way.
Okay.
Your genes provide a blueprint.
Okay.
But your lifestyle choices determine how that blueprint is expressed.
So even if longevity doesn't run in your family,
you
could still stack the odds in your favor.
Exactly.
By making healthy choices.
Right. You have more control than you might think.
That's empowering to know.
Yeah.
It's not all about fate or family history. We have agency in shaping our health span. What about the role of technology? Are we on the verge of some groundbreaking discoveries that could radically change the aging process?
The field of longevity research is incredibly exciting right now.
Okay.
Scientists are exploring everything from gene editing to senolytics, which are drugs that target and eliminate senescent cells.
Okay.
These zombie cells that accumulate as we age contribute to age-related decline.
That sounds straight out of a science fiction movie.
I know, right?
But realistically,
how
far off are these advancements from becoming mainstream?
It's still early days.
Okay.
And while there's immense potential, it's important to temper expectations.
Okay.
Many of these technologies are still in experimental stages.
Right.
And it will take time to determine their safety and efficacy.
So keep an eye on the horizon.
Exactly.
But focus on the tools and strategies we have available to us today. Makes sense. Any final thoughts for our listeners as they embark on their own health span journeys?
I think the most important takeaway is this. It's never too late to start. Every step you take toward a healthier lifestyle is an investment in your future well-being. It's not just about adding years to your life, but adding life to your years.
Beautifully said. So embrace those 10 strategies, find what works for you, and remember that even small changes can have a significant impact over time. Thanks for joining us on this deep dive into HealthSpan. And until next time, keep exploring, keep learning, and keep thriving.